On joined now by Coach Mike Valle, who's had one of the best years of any coaches in the game right now. Julianna Peña, Belal Muhammad, a lot of other good people doing good things. Mike, it's been a great few months in particular for you, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, dude, it's been going good. Having a good year, and you have to enjoy it.
Yeah, and you've been around the game for a long time, man. For people who don't know, I mean, maybe some people have seen you know in the post-fight celebratory pics and all those things. But you've been around for a while and you've been doing good things. But you like to keep under the radar. It feels like. Can you kind of just explain your approach and why you don't do too many of these kind of things and like to just leave the focus on your athletes more so?
Well, dude, I mean, I had a very good mentor, man, which was Greg Jackson. And whenever I was starting, Greg told me this. Never do it for the money. Never do it for never get in front of your fighters. So the glory is to them, and we're just a support system behind, and sometimes a great support system behind it. But yeah, it's about them. I'm never chasing my own glory. I'm always chasing for them to live their dreams and stuff like that. And obviously, is I treat it as a job. And but no, man, I mean, to me, it's just another win. It's just another win. Keep on moving forward, and just keep on going forward. I mean, I just don't really think too much about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I won't make you kind of recount your entire like life story or anything here. There's a lot of good interviews you've done, out there. But I guess for people who
Yeah.
may not be super familiar, as you mentioned, you were at Jackson Wink, and then I know you went down to Mexico and did some good things down there, and then opened up a gym in Chicago, which is where you're at now. How long have you been in Chicago now, roughly, with this
I've
EFS gym?
been I've been for 10 years up here in Chicago. The last 10 years.
Wow. And yeah, I guess like why was that? Because I think when people think of like hotbeds for big MMA areas, they think California, South Florida, and stuff. Why did you feel like Chicago was a good fit, and like
Uh,
the MMA scene there?
to be honest, man, I mean, it was just for the wrestling, because it's a mecca of wrestling here. There's a lot of access to wrestling. And in MMA, man, I mean, I don't care who you are. If you don't wrestle, I mean, you're not gonna have a prolonged career. You have to learn how to wrestle or anti-wrestle if you're a striker, but you have to understand it. You have to be living on it, and you have to get used to it. So, I mean, that was especially, and also because I train a lot of Latin American fighters, right?
Hmm.
So it's not in their culture to wrestle that much. So it's getting better throughout time, but that's one of the main reasons why Chicago. And obviously, whenever I moved here, I was working with Israel Martinez. He has one of the best wrestling schools here, and so that's why, man, I choose Chicago.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, let's start with Juliana since she's the more recent. Then we can kind of work back to Belal. It's been about a week since the fight and everything. A big title win for her. I know a lot of thoughts about the decision and stuff like that. I'm sure you've now had the opportunity to maybe review the tape, watch it back. How do you feel about how that fight unfolded and the controversy around the scoring?
I mean, controversy is always going to be a controversy, right? But I think we had 1, 2, and 3. I mean, the fifth round, I mean, it could have gone our way, could have gone her way, but I mean, we were cruising throughout the fight, I mean, until the fourth round. I really don't see too much what the issue is, and I mean, they're fights, man. They're close fights. They're both two good athletes going at it, and they're just good fights, and we came out with the W, and I mean, we just close that chapter and move on to the next one.
Yeah. Were you quite so given that in the moment, I know watching back, you feel how you do about those rounds in that moment when, the reading split decision, what's going through your stomach? Were you pretty nervous, or did you feel like that final scorecard was going to come your guys' way?
No, yeah, I really did. It was going to come our way. I think we have done enough, to get it. I think for that fourth round, that's the only one that made it like close, right? But other than that, until the third round, I mean, we were just like cruising through the fight. I think we would have got one more takedown. I think, in my opinion, I think we would have finished her. But I mean, the fights are fights, man. That's where all things change. They adjusted well. They did a good thing. I mean, Raquel did a great job adjusting, and it was good, man. It was a good fight, and it just went our way. And I mean, hopefully, and soon she can come back, win another fight, and she wants to get a shot at Juliana again. Maybe she can. She can. Just move on forward and thinking about the next one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of get into those. Obviously, Juliana has a lot of options. I don't see a world where they give Raquel an immediate rematch. I know she's out there lobbying for that. Do you kind of agree? You don't see a reason for that, especially when you have these very significant fights that are also on the horizon?
Yeah, for sure. It's just up to the UFC. They're running a big business. So it doesn't make sense to go and fight Raquel again. So maybe in the future it happen, but our eyes are set on whoever is going to be next, and we're welcoming the challenge and just can't wait to get back in there and just get after it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't giving Juliana the credit of she went and performed this way and won this fight after a more than 2-year layoff, which is extremely difficult to do. As a coach and seeing like her performance and what she did, how far away do you feel like that was from her absolute, like her best performance? Because I can't imagine after that time off, you were thinking she was going to be able to be at her 100% best.
Yeah, I mean, in moments we saw like what we every time we expect from her, but I mean, she was just being a little bit, taking a little bit things slower, being a little bit more cautious about her approach and stuff like that. I mean, can she been way more aggressive and went and grabbed her and take her down? Yeah, for sure. Can he would have pushed harder for sure. I mean, there's always things that you go back and you see and you say, okay, man, I could have done this better. I think in the moment she handled it the way she felt that she needed to handle it. And I mean, and that's it, that there's we can sit here and have a whole argument about it, but I think in the moment she did what she needed to do and she adjusted how she needed to do. And it's there's a lot of things, man, that go into it, into a fight. It's like that thing whenever she got dropped, like she gets dropped but she faces her, she keeps her in front, she comes up high, all those little things are just super high level awareness of what she has to do, doing the right things. Some other people get dropped, they turn their back, they get choked out. She's just superb athlete whenever it comes to do it, and she's very smart whenever it comes to being in danger situations and getting out of danger situations. And I mean, I'm just so proud of her, man. I'm so proud of her after 2 years, and all the setbacks sometimes with injuries, with this that she has now to go out there and did what she did. I mean, I can't ask for more, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Being in the corner, I guess it's probably so hard to compare the more gratifying moment for Juliana, this title win or the win over Amanda. I know the one over Amanda is probably really hard to top, but this has a lot of crazy traits to it too, given the time off and her coming back from that knockdown, all those things. So I imagine it's maybe hard to pick, but is there one that
Yeah.
kind of feels more special?
No, man, you know what? Each one has its moments, right? And this one felt very, very, very good. The other one felt like incredible too, right? I mean, I'm not telling you it didn't, but this one felt very good too. It's just, I mean, to me, a fighter is that, going through some adversity and coming on top of out of adversity. Other than that, they're just exhibitions. Whenever you go out there and you cruise in a fight and you don't face no adversity, and I mean, yeah, dude, it's cool, man. I mean, you're great. It was an exhibition, right? But whenever you go out there and you face adversity and then you come on top, that's to me is those are fights, kind of like the main event. Also, like going through some adversity and coming in and finishing the fight. Pereira, it's like those guys are fighters, man. I mean, and Juliana is up there, man. It's like it's I mean, I'm so honored, man, to be her coach and to be a part of her journey. I'm so blessed and gifted by it, and it's just incredible to have an athlete like that to go out there and face adversity and just come on top, be resilient towards it, keep herself positive throughout the trainings, through every day, and just going out there. I mean, she's a sweetheart. I love her.
Yeah. And this division's very interesting now. And I know you're just the coach. Like she has a whole management team, and you mentioned the UFC does its thing as far as deciding where we go from here. But we know she wants Amanda Nunes to come back and wants that trilogy. We know Kayla Harrison's out there calling her out. She seemingly has earned her title shot with the wins. As the coach, what would be a more intriguing like challenge for you, like trying to crack the code for Nunes for the third time with that trilogy, or like this new test of Kayla Harrison, who obviously has all this hype around her?
I mean, it's this would be very interesting. Both of those fights represent something very interesting and in their way. I think a fight with Amanda would be great, right? But if it's Harrison, I mean, hey man, I mean, just cracking her it's going to be. People think like she's invincible, and I mean, just going out there and Juliana putting her stamp on. I think it'll be a great statement too. And from there, I mean, I think it's just get hopefully Amanda comes out of retirement and comes and does it one more time. And I mean, all three girls are amazing, I think, and it's very interesting. I mean, for MMA fans, that whichever one happens is going to be a great fight.
Yeah, I think they're both super interesting. Were you impressed with what Kayla did? I know Juliana said like at the post-fight press conference, she's like, I didn't really get to see it. I was warming up, but like my team wasn't impressed with her fight. Were you part of that group she was referring to, or were you busy with her and not watching that fight?
No, I mean, I can't say that we weren't impressed, right? I mean, she's a great fighter. I mean, she's very good in certain areas, and it's nothing that we had that the world hasn't seen. It's not nothing. I mean that I mean we that we can't come on top of. It's I mean, she's good. Yeah, don't take me wrong. Juliana's good too. I mean, Juliana, until you get her in front of you, you realize how good she is. And I mean, I think that's what makes it very interesting. I mean, whenever Harrison sees Juliana in front, she's going to be like, "Oh my God, this girl's way better than what I think so." And she's going to be in tons of trouble. And that's what it is. That's what makes fight interesting. And I mean, all the respect to her and her team, and never disrespect to her and her team. But I mean, I just can't wait, man. So they sign a contract, whichever of the other two fights is, and we'll go to work and get back into it.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple times, like when they're standing across from her, they realize it's something different. What do you think it is about Juliana, or whatever the perception is, that people do seem to think that she is maybe an easier target than she clearly shows herself to be in the cage, and that they get what you've alluded to there when they're standing in front of her? It's different than how people perceive it. Why do they think of her that certain way coming into the fight? What's your take on that?
I mean, dude, the thing is, they're willing to go so deep, man. They're willing to go so deep. They're once you go in there and then you're grab someone and you like, oh man, I'm in it, right? I'm in it tonight with this person. I'm whatever it is, I'm in it. And I think it's just that feeling that you have somebody across you that it's not just going to fight you with skills and skills and skills and skills, right? I mean, it's going to fight you with a lot of will, too, and an unbreakable will, So that says something, man. I mean, to a person, I think that's what it is, And I have the same thing with Belal. They're unbreakable whenever it comes to that side. You may see him as skills. Okay, they lack here, they lack there. They like, well, okay, that's fine. Okay, until you have him in front of you, you're going to see how good they are, and then on top of that, just their will to push and to will to go forward, to will that just to have him on top of you. It's or in your face all night. I think that just says a lot about an athlete, and I think that's why they're so fierce and they're so good, both of them. That's why they're world champions, both of them.
Yeah, I know it sounds like cheesy, but there's a reason, it's saying that you can't measure heart and can't measure determination and all that stuff, because those X factors are huge intangibles in the sport.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess this last thing on Juliana, is it your hope like to see her back in the gym and start working towards something like fairly soon, given all the time off? You think it would be in her best interest for like her skill and her growth and everything to get right back to it and try to defend that title in the next like 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, she'll be back on Monday to the gym, and she'll be around helping the team and stuff like that. So she's never a one that goes away and takes some months off or anything like that. She's always in the gym whenever she can and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's the sooner the better. I mean, now that she's in a rhythm and stuff like that, the sooner the better. So, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, on to Belal. Obviously, man, if we talk about title wins that must have felt good, holy hell, I imagine that felt great. When I was watching that fight, Coach, when he got that first takedown in like the first couple of minutes of the round, I was like, okay, I think he's winning. Like it felt
Yeah.
like it was maybe it. Even from there, obviously, he had to still go on and win the fight, but that was a huge sign of where things were going. Did you feel that way too? Like that first round, how it went? Were you almost like over encouraged, being like this was a dream start essentially?
For sure, that was always the plan, right? To just go out there and try to grab him and squeeze him and see and challenge him with the wrestling to a point where he felt very challenged. And I mean, he was able to do that at ease. I mean, we had sometimes in the gym a couple of partners that were very hard to take down, and I mean, how easy it came and how the setups came is. I mean, but you know what, man? I mean, he works so hard, man. Belal, I mean, he just works nonstop, 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 nonstop. That it's his blends ins are just so good that I mean, I don't care who it was, dude. I think he would have done this that night. There was nobody that was going to stop him from winning.
Yeah. I mean, God, that must have just been such a satisfying one, especially the road he had to take. I mean, anyone who's watching this probably knows Bilal's story pretty well, so we don't need to go over it bit by bit. But yeah, just to wait all that time and see him do it the way he did, how proud were you of him that night?
Man, it's been a journey with him, man. I mean, I whenever I saw Belal walking for the first time in my gym, I told him, dude, you're going to be a world champion, dude. And I mean that. That was the first time I saw him, dude, you're going to be a world champion, just because I saw something in his eyes and his work ethic. And I was been able in the past to be around world champions. And I don't know, there was something about his look. There was something about his personality that, I mean, you're going to be a world champion. And he's nonstop, man. I mean, it's been a journey for him. He's worked hard for that journey, and it's I mean, I'm so proud of him, man. I mean, I just can't explain it with words, man. How proud I am about him and how he is. Been, social media and people don't get to see them in a personal life. I mean, he's a great person.
Mm-hmm.
Other than being a champion, same thing with Julianna, man. They both of them, they're like the kindest persons you could ever meet. And I mean, and not because they're close to me, but they really are. These guys, both of these guys, will stop in the street and help you. They're that genuine. They're great persons. They're very humble, and I mean, Belal is just an amazing individual too.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone has any doubts about that, just go look at some of the things he's done for other people in the past few months alone. And I think that gives you a pretty clear idea of what kind of person he is. Were you quite glad? I have a mutual friend with Belal who said they told him if he took that fight in Salt Lake that they were trying to get him to take, they were no longer going to be friends. Were you kind of in the same vein? Would you have been bothered if he accepted a fight like 2 months later?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was just not it was just too soon, man. Yeah. It was just not too soon, man, to do it. But yeah, it's other than that, I mean, I was with him with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do everything he did. It's crazy they even requested that of him, but I think the power of saying no sometimes is the right move, and it seems like he's going to get a proper preparation for his first title defense. Which are you guys still? Are you hoping it's December? As I know that's like kind of all the talk right now. Nothing is official, but is that the hope?
That's the hope right now. I think they're saying December. I mean, Belal is, I mean, 24/7 in the gym, all year round, so it doesn't matter, right? But yeah, I mean, that's as far as I know right now. That's what they're thinking December. We don't know the date yet, but I think it's going to be December. And yeah, just getting ready for it.
Yeah. How, if it does end up being Shavkat Rakhmonov, who it seems to be everything trending towards, is a coach trying to put together like a game plan for an undefeated fighter like that with all finishes? Is that like a fun challenge for you and something that you're curious to tackle?
For sure. I mean, it's a great challenge. It's a great goal. It's a great code to crack, man. You know what I mean, and it's I can't wait for it. There's all this hype behind him. And I mean, he's a great guy. He's a great fighter too. But I mean, Belal is unreal too. He's the best in the world at fighting, and he's the best in the world going back, going sideways, going this, putting pressure, not going to the ground. So it doesn't matter where the fight may take place. He's willing to go forward, go back, go to the side, fight on top, fight behind. I mean, it really doesn't scare us. Like whatever it is, let's go.
Yeah, it's definitely a curious matchup for sure. That's going to be a lot of fun if that does happen. Does the mentality change as from the coaching side, as you've been on the title chase throughout the first half of this year, and now you're going to be trying to hold it and defend it, 2 champions now. What does that do for you? Does that just give you more motivation in what you're doing, or do you think of things differently at all, knowing that your fighters that you're preparing are champions now?
Well, yeah, like, to be honest, the way I see it, I always give them 24-hour rule, right? Okay, we just won right now, but like today we haven't won anything, so we gotta just continue to keep on working with the same attitude, with the same principles, with the same anything. A title is great. It's great to have that big stamp around you, but it is. The motivation is the same. Like as whenever they started. It's another competition. It's another fight. We face it the same way, and save it with the same responsibility, with the same work ethic and stuff like that. And because that's how you get to the top, right? Because you have that consistency, not because, oh, this is a playoff game, I'm going to play a little bit harder than the regular season game. No. It's everything is, we treat it as is, as if it was your last title shot. And once you start visualizing that, it just becomes easy and it becomes natural, and that's where we at right now. I mean, there's no extra pressure behind it. There's nothing behind it. It's just another 5-round fight that we have to go, and we have to go out there and win.
Yeah, and just one of the last things, Coach. You with this title wins, I'm sure a lot more notoriety. I'm sure there's people that see what you guys are doing out there in Chicago and want to come, join and see what it's all about. How do you decide if like someone else out there who's like an already proven fighter wants to come to your gym and join you? Like, how do you decide who you bring in? And obviously now you have people that you have to give even more attention to that are champions. Like, how do you split your time and kind of delegate who you work with and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, if they want to come and work with me, I mean, it's or with our team, by all means, everybody's welcome, right? And I mean, as long as they accept our philosophy and how we go and we approach things and stuff like that, and I'm not out there chasing anyone. I don't want. What I have it's enough for me. I don't want to build this mega gym where it's never been my dream to have this mega gym. I just want to have good individuals in my gym that can go out there and compete to the fullest of their ability. And if I can help them, become a little bit better, I mean, that's great. If I can help them with their philosophy of fighting and stuff like that, there's only so many techniques we can teach. What changes is a little bit the philosophy of how you're going to approach a fight, right? Because most of these athletes already know a lot of things about fighting and a lot of techniques and other stuff like that. But most of them just approach their fight in different ways, right? Or in different areas, or they don't focus in certain areas that they need to focus. And I think that's where we're a little bit different. We focus on the areas that we think we're going to be superior and work on the things that we're not that good at. And it's just a philosophy state. And it's hard work, man. I mean, there's not that much magic behind it. I mean, believe me, it's just working every day, being committed and being married to your job and showing up every day. It doesn't matter what, doesn't matter how I feel, doesn't matter what's going in. I never let my emotions get in the middle of our goal. That's what I always tell my athletes. Never let your emotions get in the middle of your goal, right? Because there's a lot of emotions that go on through life that sometimes put barriers to get to where we want to be. And so just tackle them down, put them aside, and just keep on breaking the wall forward. And that's it, man. I mean, there's not that much magic, just hard work.
Yeah, those are great words. And whatever you guys are doing, it's obviously starting to bear fruit, and has been for a while now. But in the form of championships, the fact that this gym has 2 current UFC champions, I think, says quite a lot. So I really appreciate you taking some time to open up about this. When's your next one? Anything?
I have Charlie Radke in Vegas.
Yep.
November 7 or 9 or somewhere in there.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah. And then I got Macau, and then getting ready for a big one. Let's go in December.
Yes, sir. All right, man. It's a huge year for you, and it seems like you're going to have a chance to put a big stamp on the end of it, man. So it's great to catch up. Anyone who does not know you, hopefully they're more familiar now and starts showing respect for everything you guys are doing out there, man.
No, thank
Congratulations.
you.
And hope
I
to talk to you
appreciate it,
soon.
man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, brother.